Welcome back, y'all, to the Nourishing Women podcast, your go-to podcast to get your period back and get pregnant. I'm your host, Victoria Myers, peer recovery specialist, fertility dietitian, and owner of the virtual coaching practice Nourishing Minds Nutrition, soon to be Nourished Fertility, where we work together to restore your fertility. There was a time in my life where I so deeply believed in my heart of hearts that eating as little as possible while exercising as much as possible was the definition of health. I was like, I am so healthy. Look at me go. And I believed that I could maintain a strict diet of calorie control, working out 6 days a week. And I believed that if I could maintain this strict calorie control, I was always eating around 1,200 calories a day, working out 6 days a week. There was period of time there where it was even 2-a-day workouts. I believed if I did all that, I was doing exactly what a healthy, disciplined woman was supposed to do. And honestly, our culture, it reinforces this narrative, doesn't it? It teaches us that being healthy means not nourishing our bodies and moving for enjoyment, but also learning how to rest and regulate our nervous systems and take care of ourselves. But instead, it's controlling food. It's being as skinny as possible. I feel like that narrative ebbs and flows, right? I think of like when I grew up in the late 1990s, early 2000s, Lindsay Lohan and Nicole Richie on the cover of magazines. But even though it's shifted and evolved, we're back to that, aren't we? Especially with GLP-1s and the extreme fitness back in Hollywood. Oh my God, everybody in Hollywood. I recently saw Kelly Osbourne and a picture of her and her mother and about died of how skinny they were and how many people actually are that skinny in Hollywood right now. So it's not like it's gone anywhere, even though it's been years since those late 1990s that so many of us grew up in. But it's more than even just that, isn't it? It's also too that we're taught pushing yourself physically and maintaining discipline no matter what is the only way to be healthy. I think not only of GLP-1s and the resurgence of the obsession with fitness in Hollywood, but I also think of all the crazy health advice and information you're going to see pushed on things like TikTok and on Instagram, and how obsessive and rigid and dogmatic and extremely specific it is. Like, you have to eat this one way and it's the only way to be healthy. But what I know to be true, not just from personal experience, but from 9 years of studying active, healthy women who've lost their periods, who's worked with hundreds of women struggling with fertility issues as a result of their missing or irregular periods, is that mindset is what pushes their body into this state of chronic energy deficit. And that state of energy deficiency is the primary driver of hypothalamic amenorrhea and dysfunction. And when I say dysfunction, what I mean by that is you may not have entirely lost your period, but you're having really long periods, irregular periods, you're not ovulating, short luteal phases, short light bleeds. That is still driven by everything we're going to talk about today. If I think about the type of clients we sign on in our practice, all of them would describe themselves as extremely healthy. They eat whole foods, they exercise consistently, and even their blood work often appears normal when they first visit their doctor. Now, I would say that's because they're not looking for optimal for fertility, nor are they running the extensive lab work that we personally do at our practice, but still, their doctors are telling them, hey, it's technically in range. You're good to go. I don't know why this is happening. It's probably just because you're maybe a low body fat or you're healthy, or maybe it's PCOS. We don't know. You're fine. You're just going to need fertility treatments once you're ready to get pregnant. I know you resonate with that. If this is you, I bet too that you were potentially maybe an athlete in high school or college, and you still very much identify strongly as an active woman who enjoys training, running, lifting, or even group fitness. Yet, with all of these women that we see over and over again that I've studied for this 9+ years of owning this business, the pattern is something so similar for everybody. It's combining this high exercise frequency, this desire to be this healthy, active woman. But when we actually look closely, they are pushing their bodies to extreme, pushing past exhaustion. There's years and years of dieting or calorie restriction. There's an extremely high stress lifestyle, especially I find the characteristics in women of perfectionism and type A and overachieving is just so apparent. And there's just such this belief that pushing through and kind of living this extreme lifestyle is discipline rather than a sign that their body's desperately trying to give them that they need support. And over time, this pattern is what slowly drains the body's energy reserves, and that's what leads then to boom, bam, we got a missing period or period problems causing infertility. This low energy availability occurs when the amount of energy remaining for basic physiological processes is insufficient after exercise energy expenditure is accounted for. Low energy availability is considered the underlying driver of a condition called relative energy deficiency in sport, a syndrome that affects multiple body symptoms, including metabolism, bone health, immunity, and reproductive hormones. Now, we usually talk on the show about hypothalamic amenorrhea and really focus in on that, but I do think it's important to note that there are conditions that are much more studied in women who are athletes, but while it's studied in women athletes, this often happens to recreational athletes, and again, the very healthy woman. And what I like about at least the research around relative energy deficiency in sport is that helps paint the picture of how this is so much more than just missing your period or low hormone status. Again, it really affects so many systems in the body. Ultimately, when energy availability, because you're just so healthy, but what that really means is you're eating super low calorie and exercising too much. When energy availability becomes too low, the body reduces reproductive hormone production, specifically estrogen, but also FSH and LH. This ultimately leads to disrupted ovulation, menstrual dysfunction, and this is why women in energy deficient states experience everything we talk about here on the show, right? All this hypothalamic amenorrhea and dysfunction too. From the body's perspective, this is just survival. It's really all that is at the end of the day. And I actually think that this is good news because hypothalamic amenorrhea and dysfunction, these are all classified as functional conditions. What that means for you is that they're caused by your lifestyle and environmental factors, and there's no structural disease happening. You've been told you need to gain weight, stop exercising, or do IVF to get pregnant with no period. What if I told you that's not actually true? You're tracking your food, working out, trying everything to be healthy, but your period is still missing. And now, pregnancy, it feels impossible. I know exactly how that feels because I've helped hundreds of women get their period back and get pregnant naturally. Inside my free training, I'm walking you through the exact 5-step method that's helped women like Lex, Lauren, and Stephanie restore their fertility in 90 days or less without extreme weight gain or giving up on movement. You'll learn what's really causing your missing period, why food freedom is essential for fertility, and the customized approach that actually works, even if you've tried everything. If your dream is to see 2 pink lines and hold a baby in your arms, this training, it's your first step. Click the link in the show notes to watch the free training. It's time to restore your period, your fertility, and your hope. Now let's get back to today's episode. And again, I think that's phenomenal news because that means you have so much control. It is completely reversible, and you don't have to be someone who experiences this for the rest of your life if you do the work to correct it. And as part of that process of correcting it, for many women, it starts first with the realization, right? The realization that something is wrong and that something has to be fixed if you want to get pregnant, especially naturally. Or maybe even for you, you're at this point where you've done multiple rounds of fertility treatments like medication like Letrozole. Maybe you've tried IVF, it's failed. I'm so sorry if that is you. I know that is so devastating when you spend thousands and thousands of dollars on either medication or IVF treatments. The great news is that even if fertility treatments are used, period recovery is always a win-win because it's going to allow your body to feel safe enough to get pregnant. At the end of the day, it is always a necessity to do this work to get your body back into a state of safety. So if that is you and you're ready to shift from control to nourishment, the biggest shift that needs to happen is moving away from the mindset of controlling towards a mindset of truly taking care of your body and taking this whole body approach to your fertility instead of thinking, how little can I eat today and how can I track my calories in MyFitnessPal and how can I stick to my 1,200, 1,500, 1,800 calorie diet plan and then also exercise 6 times and then also get 20 to 40,000 steps a day. Instead of taking that approach, the question becomes, how can I provide my body with enough energy, safety, and support to allow my hormones to function again? Instead of pushing through exhaustion, instead of focusing on as little as possible, we focus on nourishment and abundance and the safety above all else. Once you make that shift, the results, they can be quick, they can actually be easy, and they can be remarkable. That means you being able to get your period back, be able to get pregnant within 6 months of getting your period back is also other noticeable improvements, like being able to go to the bathroom every day, no longer experiencing constant bloating that makes you feel you're 6 months pregnant, even though you desperately wish you were at the end of the day. It's improved energy, no longer feeling like you have to have a coffee at 3 p.m. It's a reduction or complete elimination of headaches. I see headaches in all of my clients, and no one has ever tied to them or brought that connection rather to how they're missing or irregular periods and low hormones is related to the headaches because their body's in such a state of stress. It's feeling warm again. It's libido skyrocketing. The list could honestly go on and on. But the most exciting part, of course, is that pregnancy becomes possible. And this is the transformation we witness regularly every month with our clients. If you've been stuck in the cycle of doing everything right, you were so healthy, but maybe too healthy, you don't have a period, please know that you are not broken and you are not the exception either. This will work for you too, I promise you. Your body may just simply be asking you for something different than what the fitness industry, the health industry, what Hollywood has taught us, what diet culture, as we all grew up in, taught us. And when you learn to give your body what it actually means, fertility becomes possible again. If that is the type of support you're looking for, I want to invite you to schedule a decision-making call with me. We would love to support you in making all of your dreams become possible, including seeing that positive pregnancy test you've been dreaming of. Again, you can apply with the link in our show notes to Premier Period Recovery for Fertility. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you were like me and you used to live or you currently live off of 1,200 calories a day and exercising way too much, I hope you really got a lot out of this episode. If you did, take a screenshot of you listening, tag me on Instagram at Nourish Fertility. I absolutely love seeing you guys listening to the show. And hey, who knows, maybe you can send it to a friend or two, because I bet if you are struggling with this, you also know someone who else is struggling too. I'll be back for another episode next week. Until then, know that a nourished body is a powerful one.